Oh, damn. Okay. So, looks like we're recording. Man, I wanted to make a sort of 2024 recap video going over a lot of things that happened, sort of just documenting everything. Going over my goals, the business, personal life, things I achieved, things I didn't, things I learned, and things I overcame. So I guess this year I would describe it as a lot of doubt and a lot of fear, and that's mainly because I was so hyper focused on becoming successful, and obviously in terms of finances mostly. And I think a lot of it I didn't even think through, really. I wanted to become successful, but I didn't really know what that even meant. Like, what does that mean? Is there a number to it? Is there, what are the characteristics of being successful? What does that mean to me? And, once I define it, what is that, why is that important to me? And I started the year off, let me go back even a couple days before I started the year 2024. December 27, 2023 is when I started my Instagram page, the one that I use for my business and everything like that. And I made my first post. It wasn't my first, social media post ever. It wasn't the first time using YouTube, using Instagram. But it was the first post where I decided, I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to give this a real go. And back then, when I started it, the page is called skygrowth.io. I wanted to make an Instagram channel about how to grow on Instagram, which is hilariously hypocritical because I was at zero. And I had, I did have some experience, like from a couple years back, growing an Instagram, like pretty small, and a YouTube channel, but nothing major. So I started posting on that regularly. Gosh, my videos on that were horrible. They were terrible, and it was funny. And actually, shout out to this camera, which is, I picked this camera for a reason. This is my M50 with the kit lens. The only thing that I didn't have when I started this was the microphone that I'm using, just because I want to make sure that it picks up my voice well and it's not, the wind and everything around me isn't messing it up. But I picked this tripod, this old tripod that I found, as well as this camera and this kit lens, for a reason. I'm probably gonna get rid of it soon. But that's just because my business and my video skills and everything has evolved so much. I started this year off with my content, my Instagram, with really nothing. No skills, really. No marketing skills, no camera skills. Like, I didn't even come from a background of camera skills. I knew how to operate one, but barely, and pretty horribly. I was always trying to manually focus everything on my videos, and then manually, adjust the exposure. And I realized that it was looking so bad every time. I would see other videos, and I'd meet friends who make videos too, and I'd be like, yo, why does my shit look bad? And eventually I learned that you can just use autofocus and your videos will look really good. But yeah, crazy, right? But man, I started off with nothing. I started the year off with $1,700 in debt, and that was from a gift that I bought my sister for her birthday, as well as a course. So I had to split a $3,000 course or program that I bought. I had to split that into 3 card payments. Basically everything that I had at the time as a broke college student, I guess. Because that's what I was a broke college student. I finished college last year, December. And then I started working. January 8th of this year, I started working as a software developer. That's my full-time job. And at the same time, posting on Instagram and trying to grow this page. So I was posting and trying to improve and making posts every day. Not making posts every day, but trying to grow a brand. I knew at least I had enough brains to know that building an audience was heading in the right direction, come 2024 and beyond. So that's what I decided to do. I said, you know what, I want to grow a brand. I want to grow a page of me and my face, which was also a big deal for me at the time because and I can say for certain that I've grown a lot in this aspect, but I used to care so much what people would think of me, and I would fear that people would judge me for posting. But then I realized that, what kind of loser is going to judge someone for going after their own goals? Really just that, a loser. Only people who are too afraid or who have failed and quit are judging other people for going after what they want. And so, with that sort of in the back of my mind, it gave me a lot of peace of mind that the only people judging me were people who, had tried and failed and never recovered, or had their own aspirations they never fulfilled, or they never got started with even. It's coming to my attention recently that most people don't even start. And I didn't even realize that because I felt like I lived in this bubble, and, thank God that I got to meet some other entrepreneurs. We all started, we all kept the ball rolling, other young entrepreneurs. And so I felt, which is a good sense, is good in a good sense, in a way, I felt kind of like I was in this bubble where it was just like the people around me. And we had all, started something at least, some of them way ahead of me, even right now. Some of them only a little bit ahead of me. But all of us ambitious, all of us doing, And so I thought everyone starts. I thought everyone tries, but it's not the case at all. Most people don't even start. Most people don't even try, and that's the big killer, I think. It's being too afraid to start. And I remember when I started this page, my content was not good at all. I had some editing skills. I had this really crappy camera that I bought for $400. But the difference is I got started. I decided to do something. And even though it wasn't perfect, I eventually got better and better, and I started learning. And I joined a coaching program where, even though I had no skills, I joined this coaching program. I put $10,000 into this program, and I had $2,000 in my bank account. So at this point, I've been working full-time for 3 months. It's March. And I get on this call with this guy, Grayson Lupus. And he's really good at sales. He convinces me, or I guess he helps me make a decision to join his program. And even though I only have $2,000 in my bank account, he really makes me feel like this is the solution. This is what I needed to achieve my goals. And so probably like a week before, I had gotten a credit card with a big limit. And so I was like, okay, let's put it on this card. And I put it on that card. And I was financing that program for like 3 or 4 years, bro. I had a monthly payment of, like $350, $400 or something like that I had to pay per month to the credit card. I was going to end up paying over $11,000 or $12,000 for that program over the span of 3 years, something like that. But I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take the risk. I took the risk, and I'd started taking some action. I started posting more and following the steps. Obviously not to a T, but I did try. I followed the steps. I ran ads, and nothing for a long time, months. And that's really because again, I didn't know what I was doing at all. I had basically no skills still. Even though I was getting better at content, even though I was learning the algorithms, and I'd seen some success by this point where some of my videos did really, really well. Grown my page to 3,000 followers. I still really knew nothing, and I didn't know what this business even was. I didn't even know what I was doing for months. And so I went to, it was the summertime. So this is after I spent so much time and money trying to make something happen with this program and nothing. And I felt really cheated. I felt like I got sold into this program, even though it wasn't right for me. That's sort of how I felt about it for a while, because I was like, man, like, all these other guys in the program, they came with a skill set, or they came with an existing business and they needed help to grow it. And I came in with nothing, and he knew that. But I kept pushing, I realized that when I went to the first collective, because Grayson has collectives, I went to the first collective and I met a lot of really, really awesome people that I'm still in contact with today, to this day. But I met one guy in particular who stood out to me, even though I'm not close to him or anything, even though we did have some back and forth after that. His name's MJ. Some of you might know him. I realized that he also started from nothing. In fact, he started with probably less than what I had. And then I realized that almost all those guys started from nothing or worse. And that sort of made me feel at home, but it also kind of made me feel like, damn, like, why am I feeling sorry for myself? We all started like this. And so, after that collective, one of my friends, Hunter, that I met, he really takes off. He really goes from a couple thousand to tens of thousands, 20, 30,000 a month with his video business. And, to be fair, Hunter's a very smart guy. He came with pre-existing skills in videography and social media. And he is a smart guy, like I was saying. And so after that collective, he really took off. And still, for me, nothing, man. Nothing. I couldn't figure this out yet. And Grayson changes his program up a bit. And he says, hey, you know what? I want to have a higher touch program. I want to be more involved in my clients, which is not like he wasn't before, but it was, how can I describe it, I guess? It was more of a, here's like all the support you need, and here's all the instructions and all the courses and the community. And here are the group calls. But like, if you need help, let me know. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people saw success, and I knew it was real because I had met these guys. And so when Grayson decided to change his program up a bit, and that's when I sort of started getting a little more one-on-one contact with him, he showed belief in me, and that meant a lot, to me. I want to stop here and recognize that it's so important to believe in yourself. Where does that even come from? It's still something I'm looking for the answer to, really. I know that I had a conversation with my dad about a family member of ours who is struggling. He's my age. He's struggling. He immigrated here. And he's always asking for loans, always asking for money. And I had a conversation with my dad. I told him, I was like, hey, like, why give him money if that's always going to be a crutch, if he's always asking for money and you give it to him, even if it's not much, doesn't that take away his ability to help himself and to learn to figure stuff out on his own? And he said, son, you've had a lot of help. A lot of help in life. A lot of people have helped you. And sometimes that's what you need. And I told him at that time, which was just a couple weeks ago, I said, yeah, but I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's just a crutch. But I thought about it afterwards, and I started thinking about my own situation. And I was like, man, I did get a lot of help. I got a lot of help in life. I got really lucky in life with a lot of things. I got lucky with parents. I got lucky where I live. I got lucky that I'm living in the US and I speak perfect English. I went to college for free. I have employment right now that I'm able to use to help me pursue my dreams, and it's not a bad job at all. Like, it's actually a great place to work. And I got a lot of help during school, from my parents, from my friends, from everyone. And so that made me realize that, if I hadn't had that help, who knows where I would be? Who knows what sort of person I'd be? Just because I am the person I am now, doesn't mean it could have ended up differently had I not gotten help when I needed it. And so, all that just to say that, the people around me believed in me, and I got extremely lucky in that. And so, if you're needing someone to believe in you, I believe in you, because I started from nothing too. Even though I got really lucky with a lot of things. In terms of business, man, in terms of life, nobody cares if you reach your goal. Nobody but you. My parents, and my sister and everyone around me, even though they care about me and they want me to succeed in life, they don't care if I reach my goals. They care if I'm fine and safe, and that I have employment, that I'm able to live, and that I'm fine, and that I live well. They don't care if my business takes off and makes 20, 30, 50, 100,000. They don't care. It's my job to care about that. And so that's like a truth that I had to realize, that, they're not gonna, your parents, your friends, your coaches, mentors, whatever, they're not going to force you to wake up at 6 a.m. and read. They're not going to force you after you come back to work to film a video. They're not going to say, hey, you need to film this. Like, bro, you're chasing your dream. No, they don't care as much about your dreams as you do. Nobody in the world is going to ever care about your dreams as much as you do. And so that's kind of where you have to motivate yourself and not quit. So, after going back to the story, after I started getting more one-on-one help, Grayson, he helped me basically curate an offer and an entire game plan for me of how we were going to go from how I was right now, point A, business not really working at all. I had a couple $1,000s saved in my bank account, even though from my job I had made well over 50, 60,000. I only had $3,000-4,000 to show for it. 3, 4, 5,000. Let me think, what else? We made this plan, and I trusted him, and he told me, don't trust me, trust yourself. One thing that I also realized about listening to people who are helping you, especially if it's mentors that you're paying for, is, they're genuinely trying to help you. And the way you think, and the way you do things, and the way you make decisions right now, if your life isn't where you want it to be, or is not headed in that direction very clearly, then the way you think and make decisions right now is flawed. And that's something that I had to internalize, where I was like, oh, I want to turn off these ads because I feel like they're not working. It's also that word is important, I feel like. That's also, I learned that's some bullshit. You really have to check the numbers, check the data, track your data. Because without knowing, you'll never know. Without seeing those numbers, you'll never know how you feel is actually right. And so I guess, I knew that this guy had done something extremely similar, or, basically what I wanted to do. So I followed his process, and I followed his rules, and I followed, well, not like his rules, I followed his step-by-step instruction of what I had to do. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to, be humble. That's one thing as well. I'm going to humble myself and know, you know what, Roger? I had to tell myself, you know what, Roger? I don't have all the answers, because clearly I'm not where I want to be right now, and people have done it in less time with less resources. And so I had to humble myself. That's another thing that I had to do this year, humble myself. Humble myself, and not quit. What else? Man, so after that, we made this doc, we got on this call for 30 minutes, and the plan was laid out. I start running, I make the ads, he helps me even edit the ads. He tells me, change this up, and I said, even though with a lot of things I didn't think they were important, or I didn't really agree, I said, you know what? Okay. I humbled myself, and I said, you know what? This guy knows what he's talking about, I'm paying him. He's done it not just for himself, but for a lot of other people, so who the fuck am I, right? Who am I? Who am I to say otherwise? So I made those changes, launched those ads, and what do you know? These are the most successful ads I have ever ran in my life. At $100 a day, which, by the way, was more, I was going to run out of money. At $100 a day, I was literally going to run out of money. But he said, run them at $100 a day. And that's what I did. And I said, you know what? Even though I'm probably going to run out of money, what's the worst that can happen? I'll get a paycheck 2 weeks from now, and then I'll be low on cash for 2 weeks. I'll take the risk now. So I did. I ran the ads for $100 a day, and it was overwhelming how many leads I was getting. Overwhelming. First day I ran them, I promise you, not even an hour later, I had a call booked, which was crazy. So I ran those ads. That was, late November. So at this point, it's late November. My page has grown to around 3,700. That's from a mix of both ads, a little bit of ads, but the huge bulk of that was from a viral video or two, where I had gotten those followers. So at this point, I had upgraded my gear a little bit. I started learning more about videography and marketing and Instagram and a lot of these things. And I start, appointment setting a lot, all day for 2-3 weeks. I'm setting appointments and getting booked calls and taking calls. And so I'm starting to take a lot of calls now. My calendar's packed, and this is while working full time. So at this point, I'm even taking calls during lunch break. So I'm waking up 6:30, going to work, an hour commute, work from 8 to 12. Most days I would take calls 12 to 1. And then 1 to 5 work my job, and then after that take calls. And then sometimes after those calls, which would usually go from 5:30 to 7:30. Yeah, 5:30 to 7:30. Then I would either stay and do some other stuff, some other editing or task, not editing but managing editors, whatever, or I would go home. So I was away all day. I took about 20 something calls in the span of 3 weeks, and nothing. 22 calls, I think, 23 calls, and nothing. I was close a couple times, but nothing, man, nothing. And I had spent around $1,700 on ads at this point. And within those calls, I followed up with one guy, because he was wanting to, but there was a lot of logistics around it, real objections that I couldn't handle on the call, to do with compliance, this and that, because it was a special industry. And past that, and then he was like, you know what, I have a lot on my plate, so no. So that was one guy which I really thought we would work together. He said no. And 3 days later, or a couple days later, he messages me again. He says, hey man, let's get started. And so we process the payment, and I get my very first PIF. And it's December. It's December right now. So 6,800 is what I made. And he pays it the same day. It reaches my bank account a couple days later, and it's real. And I was like, holy shit! Like, some guy actually paid me 6,800. And I'm not releasing this video until a long time from now. I'm gonna keep this probably unlisted, or schedule it for the end of next year, or the end of next year, but we start working together, and that was just a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago or something. So we're gonna be filming very soon, very, very soon, the next 2-3 days probably, and I'm excited to work with this guy. It's gonna be tough. We're doing YouTube and some short form, and I really, really, really want this guy to succeed in what he does. Not only because I respect him a huge amount for his work, and because he's a high-level professional, but also I wanna prove to myself that I can adapt, and I'm the figure-it-out type of guy, because that's who I am. This whole time, there was months where I would spend on ads, make content, and nothing. And it felt like the universe kept on saying no, 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 and no again to me. That's what it felt like. It felt like the universe was telling me, no, 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 you're not ready, you're not ready, you're not ready, get better, no, 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 no. And a couple days ago, I sold some guy by chat for $1,500. And another guy that I'm excited to work with, because he's pretty cool. He's more similar to me. So this month I made $8,300 from my business, where in the previous 6 I had made let me think, 2,800 total, 2,900 from the past 6 months before, and that was doing way more work, way less profit margins, and honestly being treated more like hey, I'm giving you an opportunity, which I didn't like, even though it was kind of true. They were like, hey, look, I'm giving you this opportunity. And it's not like they treated me bad, but that's how I was looked upon. Like, hey, like, we're helping you out, like, with your career, and helping you grow, and you're just starting out. And that's not how I wanted to be treated. Of course, like anyone. And now, the people that I'm working with, they see me as like, hey, look, like, we're partners in this, and you are someone that understands this stuff, and you're the expert, and that's why I hired you, and that's why I'm paying you X amount. So this month, December, I made $8,300, and it was crazy to me, because this is something that you would have told me in the beginning of this year that I would be able to do that. I probably would have said, like, that's it. But it's real now. Like, it's real now. It's real. And I started off, like I told you before, with no skills. Really nothing. And so I wanted to share this for myself, but also for anyone watching, that just don't quit. Really. Don't quit. Humble yourself. If you have someone that you're listening to, be thankful. Be thankful every day. I started doing that, and money started coming in randomly. It really did work like that. I started being more thankful and more mindful about what I truly need to be thankful for, and money started coming in. It's a weird way the universe works. Humble yourself, be thankful. Kind of all the things the Bible says. I don't know if you watching this are religious, but even if you're not, it's worth studying. I'd pick up a Bible if I were you. There's a reason it's the most popular book. Most millionaires' favorite books is the Bible. That's their number one. A lot of people swear by it. There's a lot of truths in there. There's a lot of good stories. Yeah, man, so it's real now. And that's why I kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit. And, but yeah, let me go over kind of what my goals were. So, long story short, I didn't reach any of my goals. Okay, looks like I had to restart, but my goals were, I wanted to buy a Tissot PRX, which was a $700 watch. I wanted to take my family on vacation to Spain, because that's where my mom's always wanted to go visit. So that was probably going to be like another 10,000. I wanted to buy a Lamborghini Huracan. Yeah, yeah. I still love that car, but, you know, yeah. As someone with zero skills and nothing, I don't know how doable that was. There's definitely guys that have probably done it, but I didn't, and that's okay. What else was my goal, man? I wanted to find a partner. That was one of my goals. I wanted to find a girl, and I didn't. I had met some people here and there, but didn't work out, which is fine. What else? Man, a lot of things, but this year I learned a lot from the people that I met, like Matt Shields, Grayson Lupus, my friend Joey and Hunter, T. I learned a lot from these guys, and seeing how they operate, seeing how they think, and also just seeing how normal they are of people was mind-blowing. It sort of like destroyed my perception of, what I need to be, or if I could be successful, because I realized that these guys were smart. We're not all that smart, sorry. I mean, and no diss to them, like, they're not dumb at all, but I think a lot of us, especially when we're coming up from nothing, we kind of pedestalize these guys and think they're some superhumans or something because they made more money. But it's not the case. These are all skills and stuff that you learn, and that you only reap the rewards if you don't quit. I read a couple books. One really great one that I'm still finishing is Psycho-Cybernetics. And man, how much has that helped me? A ton. So much already. And this year's goals are a lot different. This year's goals are a lot different. I'm not going to share them because I refuse to share them now. I learned that in lesson 2, which is the less I speak about what I'm going to do and my goals, the more likely they are to come true. So I'll share them at the end of the year. And how many of them I achieve, if all of them, if I blow them out of the water, who knows? But we'll see. And that's all for December 31st, 2024.